friends, I have a little surprise for everyone. Look what I got. I got a new overlocker. Okay, so we're going to unbox this bitch. We have the Singer 14SH654 heavy duty metal frame. It has 3/4 thread capability, differential feed, free arm. This is why I got it. It has a free arm. Not very many overlockers, like my Elna 654, it doesn't have a free arm option. So I can't just sew around like sort of sleeve cuffs or hemlines that are tighter or smaller, mostly for necklines and sleeves. It's easier to use a machine that has a free arm. Like most sewing machines have a slide off bed and you can use a free arm. Well, a lot of overlockers don't generally have a free arm option. It's just a solid bed for basically flat locking. So I was having a look at some options, and so I was looking at a Brother. Brother's a fantastic brand, and they have options for one that has a removable bed so that you can use a free arm, and they had a very expensive one that had like a very large table or bed, and that was like almost $800, which I was like, that's ridiculous. But I got this Singer 14SH654 for $300 and something. I'll put it up on the screen somewhere around here, and that's effective currently here in Australia from our local store at Spotlight. So I decided, well, I would love to get another overlocker so that I'm not having to unthread and rethread and unthread and rethread constantly, because it can be very annoying. First world problems, I know, but it is annoying when you have to rethread an overlocker because there is a lot of paths that it has to go through, and it takes time, which means that projects take longer to do, and when you're changing threads all the time. So I decided I definitely want to have another machine. So I had a look on Marketplace and I was looking at options there, but I figured for the similar price or for a little bit extra, I could buy a brand new machine that happens to have a free arm option as well as a warranty. So I will do my warranty card for this machine like I've done for all of my other machines, besides my vintage machines and machines that were bought off Marketplace. But all of my brand new machines, I do all of my warranties for them. Yeah, I'm really excited. This is a really cool little machine. It is not marketed as one of Singer's heavy duty lines. I do believe that the grey version with a different model number is advertised as the heavy duty model. This is heavy duty here because it does have a internal metal frame like most of their machines, but this only has a 90-watt motor, I think, where I think the heavy duty grey version, I'll try and put a photo up here somewhere, I think the motor size in them is a bit bigger. Most heavy duty models have a motor that is above 110 watts, normally around 110 to 135 watts, where this is a 90 watts, so same size motor as you would probably get from the mechanical heavy duty machine. So it's still a heavy duty, but a baby heavy duty, domestic heavy duty for sure. So let's get cracking. I did open it earlier when I bought it the other day just to have a look, but I'm very impressed with all this packaging. Like, there's a lot of packaging, guys, for just the needle for the thread tree. It is insanely well packed, but I mean, minimal plastic packaging and styrofoam. So all this is just literally for this. Ridiculous, but okay. They want to make sure everything's packed really well, so I'll give them props for that. So this is, ooh, what's that? Just a bit of paper. So this is your thread. This is your thread tree. So you put your threaded cones on here like that. That's an embroidery cone, but they're very similar to overlocking cones or overlocking spools. So it sits on there, and then the thread sits on top of the tree, just like the Elna over here with the black thread. So that's that. Okay, and we have a little bag of goodies. We have our overlocker needles. They're 9014s. A little screwdriver, a little pair of pointy tweezers, a screw for the thread tree. We also have an instruction manual. Love that this comes with a manual, and it's a full-size book manual too. We have our warranty sheet. We don't really use these. We just do it all online. A quick start guide for attaching your thread tree. So that comes with it. A pretty comprehensive book with multiple languages. And this gives you all the sort of information of the machine, all the dials, and then troubleshooting. It also has your stitch guides here, like the 4-thread mock safety stitch. That's good. Good comes with this. A lot of the times, a lot of manufacturers are starting to go towards online manuals. And the funny thing is not everybody is very savvy with using things online or using computers. Yes, we use phones, but you know, a lot of people don't use computers. Some people don't even have computers. They have phones, but not computers. And sitting there looking at an instruction manual on a phone, that would get very ordinary. We have a dust cover. Just a nice basic sort of plastic vinyl dust cover, but that's great. It comes with one. I really should use my dust covers on my machines, but I just love them being out on display and I like seeing them, so I don't use their dust covers per se. But if I'm not going to be home for a while and they're going to get dusty, I generally will put a cover on just so that, you know, but I'm always home, so. Let's see, we have another box of nothing. It's just packaging. So I think she's ready to come out. Oh wait, we have our pedal, our control pedal. So we have our control pedal, speed controller, sorry. Like a lot of machines, it is a double lead plug, one to the foot control and the other one to your power outlet. So that can go down there. And now we have the machine. So it's not particularly heavy, but it's got a bit of weight to it, so. And it doesn't look like there's anything else in that box, so we can just shove that box somewhere over there. All right, here she is. Here is the Singer Ultralock differential feed 14SH654. All right, so we have our label here, Singer model 14SH654, 240 volts, 50 to 60 hertz, 90 watts, made in Vietnam. Now, funny thing, at Spotlight, the display model there, at least at our local store, is a Chinese manufactured machine that says made in China. Now, with a lot of brands, there has been, unfortunately, a lot of inconsistencies with models of any make that have been made in China. So I do believe certain brands have a specific line that was manufactured in China, and some, for the most part, are pretty good, and others not so much. To keep things consistent, I generally prefer to buy machines from Vietnam because they have the most experience in the manufacturing process and the quality control, as far as I understand. Not that there's anything wrong with ones that are manufactured in China, I just hear and believe that a lot have had a lot of issues for the ones that were made in China, because not all of them come out of the same factory. There's, I'm sure, multiple factories that manufacture a lot of these machines. Just like the Singer heavy duty mechanical machine, you can buy them online, but a lot of them happen to come from the Chinese factories, not from the Vietnamese ones. So, you know, it's important to know that if you are looking for a specific machine that is made in a specific region. But I like my Vietnamese one. So this one is made in Vietnam, like a lot of my Genomes. There's a lot of brands that are manufactured from Vietnam, so they seem to be better or higher quality in terms of manufacturing. So there. All right, so she's got some rubber feet that tend to stick to the table. So if it's on a smooth surface, like a glass table or a table that has a real smooth finish, it will actually suction cup to that table. It's quite interesting. Here's a power bank and it's stuck to it. so yeah, it's got some suction cup feet for stability. We have the little slot here for the thread tree. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop that thread tree on. So I'm going to do the wing it attitude. I'm going to slide this in and to the side. And we need a Phillips head screwdriver. Now it comes with one in my little baggie. Grab the screw out and the little screwdriver. Okay, and then we're going to pop that in the little hole there. I'm just going to screw that down. Now it doesn't have to be super duper tight, it just needs to be nice and firm. Okay, so this is our telescopic thread tree. Lift it all the way up. I think that's all the way up. So when you're in storage mode, we keep these down. And you can put your cover on. You can remove your threads if you wish. Normally you just leave your cones there, so it's just a typical telescopic. So you pop that down like that, and then you can just sort of pop this down, and these little thick guys will just sort of sit inside the cone, and that keeps it all neat and tidy. But yeah, so we've got our thread tree on. We have our carry handle. Now, most of these machines have all been tested and they've used 4 different colours to illustrate their thread paths. That is very handy because a lot of people aren't very savvy with threading overlockers. They get a little confused. So that's already installed. We have our presser foot lever at the back with a little extra lift. It's only a little bit, but that's good. It's good it has that. Then there we have our thread spool stabilizers here that stops the cones from wobbling around. We have the front. Here we have the tension dials. Now, when you're adjusting your tension dials, it's actually a really good idea to lift your foot up and then adjust your tension to the desired numbers for whatever stitch you're doing, and then you pop your foot down. Now when you're using an overlocker, generally when you're placing your work underneath the foot, all you need to do is lift the nose up. So you lift the nose of your foot up, slide your work under there, and off you go. It will feed through. You very seldom have to lift that presser foot all the way up. It's not always necessary. We have here your cutting blade. This is the free arm. So check this out. There's a little button under here. You push that up just a little bit and you can slide this cubby off. This is where you put your things in. You can hide your little giblets in there. But these needles are already installed. So we can hide this stuff in there. But how cool is this? It has a free arm. We have a little stitch guide that has already been done in manufacture to illustrate the quality of the stitches and that this machine has been tested. But yeah, there is this really good free arm. So this tiny little free arm makes it easier to sort of put sleeves over or small cylindrical things. I'm really excited for this. This is going to make a lot of projects easy to do, having such a small little free arm. You can pop the cover back on, so let's just slide that back on for now. So to access that button, it's just underneath here. There's a little button there. You just push that in. So you just put a bit of pressure upwards, and then you slide the bed off. So the bed should just slide off. Okay. Awesome. Now in the front here we have the cover. We open that and slide it across and pull down. We have our loopers. So we have our two bottom loopers. We have our bottom looper and we have our upper looper. That is what produces thread stitches that go under and above the edge of the fabric. And then you've got your two needle threads, and they are for the straight stitches that run down the edge of your seam. So you have two straight stitches, or up to two straight stitches, and you have a bottom and a top looper, and they loop together to create the stitches that run across the edge to create the overlocking or serging effect. So we have a illustration here which shows us our typical three thread overlock, and we have a typical 4-thread overlock. So that is standard. I generally use a 4-thread for most things. I only use a 3-thread when I'm doing narrow seams. And if I'm doing things like gathering, you can change all that. But that's all in the instruction manual that you can find all of those different stitches. This Elna has a program card in it. I really wish machines would be the same and have this program card, because it makes life so much easier. You don't have to tote around an extra book, but you know, this one can sort of go through the little cards and it gives you all the different stitch selections. So it makes it really easy to change and try different modes. So that's good that this machine has it on the machine, where this machine doesn't. It has the two basic 4-thread and 3-thread, but if you want any of the others, you have to go and have a look in your instruction book. So here we go. We've got our looper threads. We have our needle threads. Here is our cutter. Now, to move the cutter out of the way, you pull this to the right and you pull it all the way back and you rotate it. Okay, so to move the cutter from its position, you've got to make sure that this arm is all the way up. So it has to be in the all the way up position. So over to all the way up. So, and then we put your finger on this side and hold this dial. And what you do is you push across and you turn this dial. Turn it towards the machine or clockwise, and you flip the cutter over to this side and it locks away. That way you don't have a blade in the way when you're sewing. And then you can pop your little cover back. If you want to use your cutter again, you push, make sure that the little arm is all the way up again. Push on the left side and rotate towards you so that the cutter can spin. Now be careful because that cutter is sharp. So we spin that around till it locks or clicks into its position, and then you release. And that way the cutter is now back in the position. This is great English, isn't it? Setting seam Wyoth Fingek. So if you can see, I don't think they're very good with their English. Let's turn her on. My friend showed me a different way of stabilizing your cones, because when you have them in the normal position, like so, they wobble around. See, they wobble a lot. And even if you were to just sort of, what she showed me, very clever, my dear friend, is turn these guys upside down. So place them on upside down, and when you pop the cone on, it gives it a tighter fit. And it's just less wobbly. What a ingenious hack. I love that. Loopers tend to use the most thread. So let's put the larger cones to the looper side and the needle ones to this side. So I'm going to turn these upside down, flip them over. And now, when you use your overlocker, the cones don't wobble. See, how clever is that? Oh, ingenious she is. She really is an absolute genius. To help with threading, what we can do is we can use the threads that are already in the machine to help guide. Follow your instruction manual when you are threading your machine. It'll make it much easier for you to know where things go. Okay, so I'm just going to pop these threads on the tree. Now I'm going to check. Yes, so it's the same as my Elna. We do looper, left looper first, or the bottom looper first, which is the red one. Then we go to the yellow or orangey coloured one. So it goes 1, 2, then the green 3, which is the right needle, and 4, which is the left needle, and that's blue. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and when you are doing this, do this in order every time. Oh, where's my cutting tray? Does it come with a cutting tray? Sure, it does come with a cutting tray. Maybe it doesn't come with a cutting tray. You know, this is my cutting tray to the Elna. Obviously, it's not going to fit because it's a different machine, but normally you have like a little cutting tray that sits under there, but... This is one thing I did not count on or checked, that this had a trash bin that connects to the machine, which means that it'll just feed all the pieces onto the table. Okay, that doesn't matter. I can make a little catch for it, but yeah, I mean, you would expect it to have something like that. But anyway, oh, probably doesn't. We are ready for the plug. Pass these down behind my table. I'm going to plug power lead in. Now it only goes in one way. Right, now let's turn her on. Ooh, she's got a bluey white LED bulb. Cute. Alright, let's find something to overlock. What I like to do is I like to hold my threads and I do a chain stitch first. So I let the machine run and produce some chains of stitches, and once we do that, then it is ready to use. So let's just gently hold the thread. So now it's creating some overlocking. To overlock all around the edge. Good, nice. I think she's done a great job. There we go. Consistent, the stitches look good. Probably could dial that in a little bit better. It feels like probably needs a little adjusting, but oh yeah, this is going to be ordinary after a while. The fact that it just dumps all this lint and stuff straight out onto the table is concerning. I will look in the box and see if it does come with another trash caddy. It really should come with one, and if it doesn't, well, that's poor form on Singer's behalf for not including a waste bin that sort of slides up onto the front. But for the most part, the machine's great, works good, feels good, and I'm excited to have a play with. So thanks again for coming and watching me today. Just a short one, just a quick unboxing of the Singer Ultralock. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm happy that it's got a free arm. That's such a wonderful option to have. The fact that we can take that off and I can go around small cylindrical cuffs and stuff is fantastic. It's a wonderful ability to do that. Very sought after function, and I think most manufacturers would learn a bit or two if they do this style where you can do a free arm option. So yeah, thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.